Watcher. I quit my job on my 62nd birthday. I just couldn't do it anymore. My birthday is Halloween, so my resignation had a certain artistic quality. It also gave me a distraction, since I spent my first hours of freedom serving the children of their neighborhood their trick-or-treats. It was fun. You see, I'm a widower and I live alone. We never had kids. No dog or cat or goldfish. So it gets pretty quiet around here. Sometimes too quiet. I've always been a workaholic, but a friend of mine told me, "You won't do a damn thing for 6 months after you retire. Won't want to." I didn't believe him, but like most things you don't care to believe, it turned out to be true. I guess it's the natural enjoyment of not having to do things, having to do them. And so I did nothing. Nothing at all. But right away, I noticed something had changed in my daily behavior. The living room window. I'd never spent much time looking out of it, at least when my wife was alive. I'd just glance out to see if it was raining or if the grass needed cutting, the usual stuff. But now that I was retired, it sounded odd to say it, but I was in fact retired, I found myself drawn to it, my window to the world. I found myself standing in front of it all hours of the day, and nighttime too. I looked out first thing in the morning when I got up. If I went to the kitchen, I'd stop and look out. If I went to the can, I'd stop and look out just before going to bed. If a car or a construction vehicle went by, I'd look out. If I heard a dog barking or children crying, I'd look out. And if someone, especially a woman, walked by, I would stare at them. Sometimes when people on the street were talking or laughing or making noise, I found myself resenting them. Get off my lawn. I must really be getting old. Another thing that changed was my sleeping patterns. I used to have to go to bed early, as I had work the next day. But now I was up half the night, and naturally, I always had to look out at the quiet street before lights out. Winter had come, and with it the snow, which seemed to confer an added hush to the street outside my window. But on this night, as I looked out, expecting to see nothing but the white of my lawn and the dark houses of my neighbors, I was startled. Well, more than just startled, to see 2 children standing in the middle of the nocturnal street. One kid was much taller than the other, and I instantly thought of them as a brother and younger sister, although I couldn't explain how I knew that, as both heads were covered by dark hoodies. What the hell were those kids doing out this late? It was 1:30 in the morning, on a school night. I instinctively headed towards the front door and was about to open it. But before I could turn on my porch light and step out, something stopped me. A cold, icy, in the pit of the stomach fear, as thick and impenetrable as a wall. In truth, I was suddenly scared shitless. I backed away from the door, then crept over to the window and tried to peep out unobserved. Now the kids were closer, standing on the path leading to the front steps. I jumped back in surprise, and I knew, even though I kept to the shadows, they knew I was there. I slipped back into the main hallway, just as there came a knocking at my door. I stood frozen from both the sudden cold which filled the passage and from sheer terror. "Please, sir, won't you please let us in? Please, sir, let us in." I said nothing and began to back away. "Please, Bill, please let us in. We're cold and we're frightened and need to come inside and get warm. Please, Bill, please." They knew my name. How the hell did they know that? I finally found my voice and managed to choke out, "Go away." "Please, Bill, you must let us in. Please. Go away. Go away or I'm phoning the police." "But you're going to let us in." "No, I'm calling the police." "No, you're not." And I wasn't going to call them, although I couldn't have explained why. Somehow I just didn't want to get them involved in this situation. Besides, what could I have said? That I'm being menaced by some little kids outside my house? "We know you're in there alone." How could they know that too? Had they been spying on me? I crept to the door to make sure it was locked, then hurried to lock my side door. And the whole time the house rang with metallic laughter. Their laughter, which had a false and inhuman quality, as if it was a recording. I was stumbling down the hallway, intending to lock myself in the bedroom, when the next words made me stop dead. "We know you're lonely, Bill. We know you're lonely since Mummy died. We're the children you always wanted, Bill." "No," I choked out. Just as I became aware, my face was wet with tears. "Let us in." I slammed the bedroom door and locked it. They continued to call out to me, but softly, quietly, like they were in the same room and whispering to me. I covered my ears and kept reciting, 1 steamboat, 2 steamboats, 3 steamboats, 4 steamboats, to try and drown them out. In the end, I slept and dreamt. I was in a city park, a park which looked like an illustration from an old picture book, and I was holding hands with 2 children dressed in black, a slim boy and a younger girl, who I knew instinctively were my children. My heart overflowed with love, the deepest, most all-encompassing love I had ever experienced. They were my children. "Please, Daddy," they said in unison. "We're hungry. May we have something to eat?" Yes, you may have something to eat," I said joyously. And they pulled me to the ground with arms of steel and tore out my throat, my hot red blood spurting into their pale faces, their black eyes. I awoke with a scream to find them both standing at the foot of the bed, their heads covered with identical hoodies, their obsidian eyes appearing to somehow glow in the lightless room. "Hi, Daddy," they said in unison. "We're home."